right, now welcome in to a special edition of After Dark, Field of 68. And now I bring in none other than Towson head coach Pat Skerry in the first place Towson Tigers. How about that first place, Skerry? I know you won the league a couple years ago, but when I saw you come down to Charleston this year, it was the only loss you've had. So I'm probably not invited anymore to any games. But you didn't look like a team that at that point was clicking, and you've reeled off, I think what have you reeled off? 12 straight. 12 straight now. What's been the difference?
Yeah, I think, you saw us against Charleston. Charleston's good too. So, sometimes it's disingenuous to think that it's that easy, right? You're playing against good teams. One, we're healthy, and I don't want to sound like a smart aleck, but we've been able to practice. We had a kind of disastrous non-conference with injuries, illnesses, and we went through a stretch, Jeff, one practice in 18 days, and there was just a lot of slippage. So we've been able to get in a rhythm, and it's a weird group in that they're very, very comfortable in tight games. I'm not sure I am, but they certainly are.
Yeah, I know you're not. I don't know what's going through that head of yours, but that mind.
Me
at
neither.
The end of games. Yeah, a lot is trying to. I mean, the crazy part is people who probably aren't familiar with Massachusetts education. Tufts. You graduated from Tufts, which is one of the better academic schools in the state and certainly maybe in the country. Majored in psychology. What were we going to do with that? Like, if you didn't, when you told your parents you were going into coaching, what did they say?
Yeah, my parents were divorced pretty young and grew up playing hockey. I like to say my claim to fame is I played with the Sacco brothers, who were both NHL players. And then I found out it really wasn't me in hockey. It was them. Yeah, my mom worked at Tufts in a grad school there. So we got to go to school for free if we got in, which was really helped me start out in coaching. And my old man brought me in my senior year in high school and told me I can go to any school I want in the country. I can also pay my own way to go to any school in the country versus if I get into Tufts. So I went there and just I played for a great guy, Bobby Sheldon. Used to work all the camps, right? 10, 12 weeks of camps all summer with that. Back then, that was a kind of a feeding ground for coaches in New England. If you worked at Bentley or Merrimack or Hoop Mountain, and I was fortunate to coach at Tufts for 3 years as an assistant. So my psychology degree has served me well in this profession over a lot of years.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you still have the record, the assist record at Tufts, or did somebody break it?
I still have it, and I like to say when I finished playing, I tell our guys this all the time, I was second all time in assists per game in Division III. So sometimes you're hard on quarterbacks, because it's vision is a tough thing to teach. My college coach would tell you I was good at assists because I couldn't shoot.
Is that true?
It's very true.
Very true. Okay. Well, some of your teams in the past have not been able to shoot either. So
they have not this group, thankfully.
This group
when you saw them, we weren't shooting great, but
No.
we've got talented guys that can put the ball in the basket.
And you said that to me when we talked. You were like, listen, I know we were not making shots, but we are. And I hear that from a lot of coaches, right, that aren't making shots.
Sometimes it's coach speak.
Right. But for you, that was actually reality where you knew you were a better shooting team, and you have been really over this stretch, over the last dozen or so games.
Yeah, and it's really a credit. I've got, and this isn't a cheap plug. I've got a really good staff, and I've had a lot of good staffers over the years. These guys are as good as any of those guys I've had. And then these kids work like outside on their own. Tejada, Williamson, Suleiman. We've seen more of it. May, Tark, like these guys are in the gym constantly getting shots. So because of that, I'm big into telling these guys, hey, man, trust your work. Yeah. Like you put the work in, shoot the ball. So you feel like it's a matter of time. I mean, you know this just because, we're obviously friends, but Tejada missed 6 games in the non-conference and May missed 5. And we played good teams, and then you're just not in a in a rhythm, and the people that crush you when you're not playing well, the challenge to try to explain to them is you take arguably, two of the top 2 or 3 guys off of any team.
Yep.
It's really hard to absorb that.
And then you're playing a lot of bye games. You're playing tough games. You do challenge, your team and have. I saw a stat the other day that since COVID, you guys are actually the winningest program in the league right now, ahead of Charleston, ahead of Wilmington.
We've had a good run with that. Good players, good coaches. We take a lot of pride in that. We're going to consistently be at the top of the league, especially in this changing landscape. I think ultimately I know what you're judged by, but I've been fortunate to work for. And especially right now, I'm working for a rock star AD and president, and I think they appreciate what we've consistently been able to do.
Yeah, and I've met both, and it seems it's rare these days that I think the head coach, the AD, and the president are aligned. And when you have it, it makes your job so much easier, doesn't it?
Well, I think you can be honest, because they're somewhat realistic. Look at, we're committed to really improving our situation for our players, and that's really what it's about. So that's exciting. But I also think our athletic director and our president, Steve and Mark, they understand that, so they've got a feel on the landscape and what it's going to take. The guys like you and I and our age that complain about all this stuff today, we sound like old guys that complain about it. It's changed. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It is what it is, and you've got to adapt to it.
So you're coming down the stretch here. You got 4 games left. Thursday at Elon, then you go to Campbell Saturday. Then you got 2 home games to end it against William & Mary and Hampton. You're up 2 games with the tiebreaker. So it all looks good right now, right? It all looks good. I was going to say, how nervous are you still about this? And then talk to me a little bit about, again, the thought process of, hey, even if you win a regular season title, which you did a few years ago, there's more pressure waiting for you with the conference tournament.
Yeah, what's Rick Barnes say? Proud peacock today, feather duster tomorrow, right? One thing we've told our guys, a couple weeks ago, I said, is there pressure? Yeah, the pressure is to execute. That's the pressure. Can we execute the game plan? Can we follow our training? Right now, honestly, we're putting everything we can into Thursday night against Elon. If you can win conference championships are hard to win. And if we're fortunate enough to win one, then we'll turn the page and hope we can have success in DC. But, these guys show up every day, as do some of the teams, most teams in our league. Like, everyone's trying to win, right? So it's really like try to get ready for Elon. They play differently, a lot of zone, and then quick turnaround against Campbell, where a guy who, in my opinion, is probably, coach of the year in our league, and what a job he's done there, Kevin McGeehan. So anything beyond that, I know guys read stuff, and I'm not naive, but I think they have enough respect for everyone to understand if we don't play well, we'll get beat.
Yeah. Do you think, would you change it at all, whereas the regular season winner would get the NCAA tournament bid, or do you like the current setup? Because obviously we know it's harder to win a regular season title. Like that, 3 months is a lot more difficult than 3 days. What is your take on that?
Selfishly, I would change it if we won.
Yeah.
No, probably not. It's kind of it's how you're part of March Madness, right? A team can, you and I have Holy Cross a couple years ago, Bill Carmody. That's
cool story. Yeah.
I think what's more disappointing is that the NCAA and the NCAA basketball leadership took away the NIT automatic bid. That means something to you guys. 1,000%
at your level.
Yeah, it's that was shameful. It's even more shameful that they did it on a Friday afternoon in the news release. That's
I remember.
Yeah, I do too. And especially because it came from some highly qualified, high character
Yep.
people to do that. But that's yeah, it's hard, right? It's just all that talk now about expanding the tournament. Of course, at our level, you hope that you feel like the game is rigged a little bit. In the sense that, like, I felt like the last couple of years, the top of our league, Wilmington and Charleston and Hofstra and ourselves, if given the opportunity to play in something in March, that we played a lot better than at that point than a lot of teams from supposedly
Right.
bigger conferences. But what are you going to do, right? It's
Well, you
hopefully
guys
this.
don't have the juice to change. Let's face it. The people that are making those rules and are going to expand the tournament are the ones that are running those power leagues, and they
Yeah,
want
it
more
is. But
bids.
I wouldn't be opposed, Jeff, at our level too. I know we play in
Yeah.
DC. I wouldn't be opposed to playing at home courts either.
Really.
Only because I just think the environments would be electric, and
Yep.
our guys like playing down in Wilmington and
Yep.
Charleston, and I just think, like, it's kind of what college basketball is about, right? There's no better feeling in sports than if you win a big road game.
Agreed. Agreed. And again, and your guys, I think you've learned this about them, right? You didn't know it maybe necessarily going into the season, or maybe you hoped it because you knew a lot of your guys. You have retention back, but for them to win these close games, especially some on the road, says a lot about your team that probably solidified maybe what you were hoping.
Yeah, at 1,000%. I mean, you've got to have a group that can kind of hang in there and have a little bit of good fortune. It's when we won our first conference title a couple of years ago, it just was a strange group. Our best guy got hurt in the quarterfinals, which hurt us, but we won our last 8 games by 17 points a game in conference. That ain't going to happen. So all the people around here that are like, hey, why did we have a close game against Stony Brook? Because Stony Brook's well coached and they got some players, and we ain't that good. Nobody's that good. So it's just hard in conference play. You see it everywhere in the country. You see some really good teams and coaches get beat on a Saturday, and people crush them. Yeah, they're kids. And like, every play in football is designed to score a touchdown if executed properly. The other team tries to do some stuff too now that makes it hard to execute properly. So it's the same thing in our league.
What's the key here down the stretch? What are you preaching to your team? Obviously, the shots need to go in, but you feel a lot better about that. You guys play hard. There's no question about that. So what's the one thing that you're still really on these guys about down the stretch?
I think the thing for us is one, this has been the best group we've ever had with ball security. So if we could keep that up. And then last week we looked like Towson on the glass. We had like both plus 16s on the. So my thing with these guys, if you take care of the ball and you rebound the ball, you're going to get more shots. If we get more shots, we're going to be hard to beat.
How good has Tejada been here? I mean, you've got a lot of really good players, but Tejada was the guy who came in this year with a lot of hype. Again, like you said, he got hurt a little bit. He was up and down early, and I don't know how much of that was due to the injury. How's he been lately? And again, what do you want to see even more from him?
Yeah, he's starting to read the game well, for a young kid, and I've been really proud of how hard he's trying defensively. But I think the two big things are, one, can you be vocal, consistently vocal, and he's a guy that has to use his frame to rebound the basketball. But the difference in our team, we've got two guys in Williamson and Tejada that can really make plays late, and then we've got men. Tark has been unselfish in coming off the bench, but he's playing at an all-league level, and I think I've got the best defensive player in the league in May.
Tark couldn't shoot the ball. He was the one that really couldn't make shots in the non-conference. And since league play, it's like completely flipped. Did you use your psychology degree to to get that done, or what? What was it? You
You
know?
know, he's no, and he's a great kid. He's playing great, coming off the bench. I mean, like, so he's accepted that. He's a very even keel. I've tried to do a better job with him. That was probably more my fault earlier. Like a couple of weeks ago, he told me in a game, he had the guts to come out and he said, "You got to relax." And I'm looking at the score. I'm thinking this guy, but he is incredibly steady. And he's playing at a high level. He's playing at an all league level.
Yeah, and that says a lot, right? If one of your top players is okay with coming off the bench and you're winning, right? And you're
Right.
winning with it, and he can
Yeah,
buy
that's not
in.
easy to get. That's I mean, I don't we don't take that for granted. That he could handle that a lot differently. Heck, I've been around a lot of good players and good kids that have handled that differently.
All right, so I looked at your bio and it described you as a gritty Medford native. What does that mean? Gritty? Are you really gritty?
I hope I have a little edge, and certainly I hope our team has and players have an edge. I think that's I I hope the thing if you ask people playing against Towson that they would say it's incredibly physical,
It's
edgy.
like going to the dentist. That's what you
Yeah,
want him to say.
that's what I hope. We know people can beat us, but I hope you feel like you've got to play close to 40 minutes to beat us. That was kind of always the goal coming in here, right? People always say, "How do you get? What are we going? How are we going to play? What we going to play fast?" I'm like, I don't know how we're going to play. We're going to try to play a winning style, but I feel like if you can guard and rebound and have a measure of consistent toughness, that at least gives you a chance. And then you got to get players, right? There's never been a Hall of Fame coach without a Hall of Fame player. I don't give a care what anybody says.
All right, there you have it. Towson head coach Pat Skerry, 18-9, 13-1 in the league. They've won 12 straight. They go into the home stretch here with a 2-game lead